happened next was the fact that there was a delay in the mortgage offer. Now, in between doing the original mortgage application and then actually doing the mortgage offer, the difference was quite shocking because people went into their overdrafts, people started missing payments, and there was a lot going on. And I was kind of quite shocked, really, because the thing is, though, I hadn't explained it, so it was on me, and this is why I'm coming on to warn you today, because at the end of the day, I really did assume that when I explained this kind of stuff, um, people would just realize it's for the whole period. So basically, it's like being on your best behavior. So you have to be in that for the whole time. So examples of this is, if you 3 months before you're due to apply for the mortgage, you start, you're no longer living in your overdraft. You're no longer missing payments. You're no longer maxing out your credit card. You're no longer doing any of that. You've got really good money habits. As soon as you apply for the mortgage, you need to continue these money habits. And then when you're applying for the mortgage, as part of it, you do, as everybody knows, the decision in principle or application in principle, and they will do a soft search on you. But then when they go to you do the actual full mortgage application, they do another search on you, and they're well in their rights, the lenders, the banks and building societies, before they actually give you the mortgage offer, they're well within their rights to do another search to just double check things out. So things like, full-time job, and then you take on a part-time job, and they actually allow the income both. You can't stop the part-time job while you're doing the mortgage, after you've done the mortgage application, before you've got the mortgage offer, because then that income won't count. I was just speaking to someone, and they were saying how, one of their clients actually stopped working altogether. And it's like, you can't do that. You need to be, I think consistency is the word, right? You need to be as consistent as possible, because by doing that, I need my light. By doing that, that is going to make a really, really big difference to you. But that's what I'm trying to say, making you aware that when you are getting mortgage ready, you need to get mortgage ready, and you need to stay mortgage ready. So I'm always talking about getting mortgage ready, and it's my fault. I forgot to say stay mortgage ready, though those are the things you need to be aware of. Something else that came up today, and it reminded me of when I did a right to buy 2 years ago. And it's one of the first right to buys. Well, it's my first right to buy that didn't go through. And the reason being is because of ownership. Now, what some lenders will do, they will say to you that they want to make sure that you have a certain level of ownership within the estate or wherever you live, the street or whatever it is. So this is particularly for right to buys. Now, what I'm trying to say is, if you're a right to buy, and when they go to value the property, not the council for the Section 125, but the bank, to make sure that they can get their money back if they need to. That's basically why they value your property, to see if it's worth it, to see if they're willing to take the risk. Now, at the end of the day, what could happen is your property doesn't have the market value that they want. Now, I'll tell you a story. So this is what happened. I had a client, and she did her right to buy, had the maximum discount. We're all good to go. Her affordability worked. She had good credit. It was all good. Found the right mortgage for her, went ahead and actually did the whole mortgage application, the whole full mortgage application for her. And then when it went to get valued, it got valued at zero, as in the market value. They wouldn't lend on it. It was valued at zero. And I was like, how can a property be valued at zero? It's not condemned. She lives in it. It's a really nice flat, actually. But I was just shocked, because at the end of the day, I was so shocked because what ended up happening, what was the reason? Right. So the reason was because the majority of where she lived was all owned by the council and was being rented. They didn't feel that if it ever was going to be sold, it would be sellable. So they didn't think she would be able to sell it on. They didn't think it would be marketable because there was a high area of rental council tenants. Now, at the end of the day, I think what happened right at the beginning was when people started buying council properties, they were buying them for cash because it was a high discount. The properties weren't that expensive when Maggie Thatcher first brought it out. So if people then wanted to get a mortgage on other properties in the surrounding areas later on, it worked because there were private owners around. But now a lot of people can't afford to buy it cash, so they're actually going to do the actual mortgage, and it's not working out because there aren't enough privately owned. So what banks look for is an area where there's a lot of privately owned people surrounding you. If it's majority council, then it may get flagged up for that reason. So that's something I'd like you to be aware of. The next thing is, if people have got questions, by all means, just put them in the comments and I will have a look. So one of them says, can me and my partner and I get a mortgage and with enhanced PIP and UC? Right. It all depends on affordability. So there are mortgages that use different types of income. So obviously you've got the standard employed income, then the next level of you've got self-employed income, and then you've got benefit income. Now, some lenders will say you have to have like a part-time element along with the PIPs and the UC, but some will say as long as the PIPs and the UC is enough, then you will get it. But it is all about affordability. It depends. So with your PIP and your UC, does that equate to enough that will cover the mortgage for affordability? Now, the way I check affordability is I look at your income stream, so be it one of those three, and then I also look at your credit, so all your credit commitments. So if you've got car finance, if you've got payday loans, if you've got credit card debt, if you've got personal loans, and all of that gets is included, then some lenders will also discount things like council tax, utility bills, general living. So they'll discount all of those. They'll look at your mobile and all of that and see what your expenditure is, and that's how they can work out your affordability. And then based on that, they will decide whether you can buy that property. Can I get a mortgage with my mum's property? By right to buy, I'm trying live there. Right. So when it comes to the right to buy, at the end of the day, when I do a mortgage for right to buy, I actually look at the offer letter and I do the mortgage based on that. So I hope that helps. At the end of the day, yes, as long as the way you filled out the RTB1 form, should reflect what's on the offer, and the offer should reflect again what is the mortgage that we can do. Do right to buy wait for you to find a mortgage, or can you ask for extension time? We need 6 months. Right, 6 months is a long time. Basically, the situations I've been in is get the RTB1 form. They're meant to get back to you within 4 weeks. If it's a bit longer than that, I think it's the RTB6 that you can ask them to get back to you quicker. But obviously, if you are needing more time, then just make sure that they've agreed, that they've got the documentation that you actually borrowed and everything like that. Sorry, not borrowed, that you've applied, and you've applied before, by the 20th of November. So you've got the maximum, cap that you can. And then once those 4 weeks are up and you've heard back, then once you've got the section 125 or the offer letter, then you are actually given 12 weeks from there. But then once you're you know, going through applying for the mortgage and you're trying to complete and all that good stuff, your solicitor, normally it's your solicitor, but I think you can do it as well. You can ask for an extension of 56 days. And then after you've got that, you can ask for another extension of 56 days. But you need to be in a certain stage. So you might have already got the mortgage offer. But after the mortgage offer, you know, there's a couple of steps. There's exchange and completion, but obviously the solicitor has to do all their checks and everything, and then they have to get the information from the council and all of that, and that can take time. So these extensions are put in place for that. So just to be aware of that, but your solicitor will know all of that. And if you guys want me to get one of my friends who's a solicitor on a live with me, by all means, just put in the chat solicitor, and I'll ask her, and we can do sort of a dual live for you, so you can ask legal questions as well as the mortgage questions. I have a housing association question. Would I be titled for first time buyer? The housing association is slightly different. You have to apply to the housing association, and instead of doing an RTB, you do an RTA. And whether, depending on, you know, whether that property is on the scheme, then they will let you. But if you contact the housing association, they should let you. But not every housing association property is on the scheme. I hope that helps. Okay. Roughly 6 months, I assume, but yeah, it all does depend on the timing of that. So with the 56, so each 56 is roughly 2 months, and then the 12 weeks is 3 months, and then the 4 weeks, I suppose it is roughly 6 months. You've got a point, but yeah, it depends. Not everybody gets the 56-day extensions. You need to be a certain stage of the journey, and it's normally your solicitor that asks for that. Okay. How long is the lender asking for 3-month statements? I'm assuming you mean bank statements. The majority of them do. It's the standard. But if they're not happy with your bank statements, that your 3-month bank statements, I've been in situations, especially when I had the client that I mentioned with the gambling, they literally wanted to see like 6 months, and then when they weren't happy with the 6 months, they went right back to 12 months, and then in the end they rejected it. So it's a bit of a quandary. You don't want to give them more documents, because the more they look at, the more they'll question. But on the other hand, I've been in situations where I've given them everything they've asked for, and they're like, yeah, we're happy now. So it's all good. Sorry, we're allowed to do right to acquire, but can I use first time buyer scheme? No, you can't cross over schemes. So first time buyer scheme is slightly different to the right to acquire. So unfortunately, you can't cross over schemes. So yeah, that's that. Yes. To be honest, there are a few people that are waiting to hear back from me, and as you can imagine, there's just a lot of inquiries at the moment. So I'm slowly working my way through everybody. No one has been forgotten. I've got a list, and I'm meticulously working my way through it, and I really appreciate everybody's patience. I'm just trying to help as many people as I can. So I appreciate that. Right. Okay. Have I got any advice on getting a mortgage for a limited company? Now, the only limited companies that can buy property are when you've got a certain code as part of the limited company. So the limited company has to be set up in order to buy property. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you're talking about right to buy, which the majority of the people ask me about, you can't do that. But if you are buying a buy to let, then by all means, I think it's a very good idea to buy it as a limited company. But that limited company has the sole purpose of it is to buy property. So when you go onto the Companies House website, in order to set up a limited company, you have to write, they're called the SIC codes. So you just need to find the right code that is specific for that. So I hope that helps. What's the criteria? Yeah, so I think I've covered that. You can do day one, so you could literally set up a company that day and buy a buy to let the same day. With limited company buy to let properties, when you're getting those type of mortgages, the interest rate is higher than if you were just doing a standard buy to let. But at the end of the day, the limited, when you are doing a limited company buy to let, even though the interest rate is higher, that the interest rate is tax deductible, as opposed to when you buy a buy to let in your own name, it's not tax deductible. So I hope that helps. Can I buy via a right to buy if I live there for 20 years plus, but I'm not a tenant family member? That you need to go to the council. So this is something I just want to make clear to everybody. I am a mortgage advisor. I call myself a mortgage coach because I combine financial coaching with a mortgage advice. So I do mortgages. I'm directly authorized. That's what I do. When it comes to the actual right to buy form, the criteria and that kind of thing, I always say to everybody, please, please, please check with the council. If you're not happy with what the council's saying and you want to dispute it, either find a solicitor or go to Citizens Advice. I can tell you the deadlines of when the forms need to be in. I was well aware of those, which I've been publicising since as soon as the budget was announced. But when it comes to the real detail of the actual form, unfortunately, I can't actually help with that because I'm a mortgage advisor. I'm not a right to buy officer. So I'm never going to be one of these people that comes on here and just pretends I know stuff that I don't. I only talk about what I know. And that's something I don't. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question. Is it standard? I think when you say, is it standard 3 or 6 months, you're still talking about bank statements. The standard is 3, but if they have any queries, they're within their rights to go right up to 12 months. So don't just rely on having, clean 3-month bank statements. Hope for the best. If they want a spot check or if they're not happy, they can ask for more. So, the best thing is just to have good money habits. Just from now on, just think, what are good money habits? And if you want me to do a video on that, by all means, put it in the comments or let me know saying good money habits. The next thing is, how long do you need to be in a job to get a mortgage? Or a permanent role? It does depend. I mean, I've been in situations where, for example, someone's graduated from uni, they've been given an offer letter and it has said, so they've been given an offer letter to say they're starting, say, in September and it's in August. And because of that, they have been able to get a mortgage based on that. That reminds me of a comment I got about someone who's on maternity leave. Basically, if you're on maternity leave and you are going back, you're going back full time, you know the date you're going back, you know the salary you're going back on, as long as you get a letter from HR, we can do a mortgage based on that income, not on your current maternity leave income. So it really can make a difference if the circumstances behind why you're doing things. Now, if you're the type of person that's worked part-time or been on benefits and you literally just happen to get a full-time job a month before you apply for the right to buy, some lenders aren't going to go for that. They're going to think you've literally just got it for the right to buy and then you're planning to give the job up, as soon as you've got the mortgage. So for those reasons, you may have to jump for a few more hoops. So with answer to that question, it really, really does depend. Right. So the next thing is where am I? Okay, that's an interesting question. Right, so, before I put in a full application, worried about missing out on the full discount due to the new rules. Before I put in a full application, worried about missing out on the full due to the new rules. I mean, basically, if you haven't applied to the right to buy, I assume you're talking about, then you have already missed it. So I'm not 100% sure what that person means. I entered my application, but started with the surveyor coming out and still waiting for the discount price. Yeah, I mean, that is the process. So you first put in your right to buy application, if that's what we're talking about. Then the second thing is, the surveyor will come out and they'll value the property, and then then they will talk about what the actual offer is, because when you get the offer notice, it does start with what the property price is, which obviously the surveyor will do. Then it will say what the discount is, which you can use as the deposit or part of the deposit, depending what lender you go with and what mortgage advisor you use. And then that is what the original purchase price is what normally you can get the full mortgage for, obviously depending on affordability. But would the council wait 12 months? I doubt it, but at the end of the day, who knows? I mean, you might put the the right to buy one form in, and they're meant to hear back in 4 weeks, and you don't hear back from 3 months. I have heard those scenarios, and with Christmas and everything coming, there may be a delay, and then obviously the 12 weeks start from getting the notice. So if it takes 2 or 3 months for you to even get the offer notice, then that stretches it out. If your solicitor is on it and can get the 56-day extensions after that period, then you might well be able to stretch it out, but I wouldn't rely on that. I hope that helps. Right, before putting in the thing, I think I've done that one. Say the lender wants 12 months of bank statements, would the council terminate the application? When it asks for 12 months of statements, it means going backwards, not forwards. So say, for example, let's put some dates in here. So we're on the 27th of November now. Say you get your offer notice on the 27th of December, and you do the mortgage application, and they say they want to see 12 months bank statements. They will want to see 12 months from that date. So from the 28th of or 27th, 28th of December, they'll want you to go back 12 months to show those bank statements. So that's what I'm talking about. So whenever you put your mortgage application in and you request the documents, it's going back for those months, not forward. I hope that makes sense. Any small nuances first-time buyers should be aware of buying early next year and want to be fully prepared. Okay, I think I will need to do a whole new video on that, but just some things that I think of off the top of my head. Be aware of stamp duty exemption. The government have not extended the higher discount for first time buyers. So the standard is 300,000, but the last government put it up to 425,000. Now at the end of March it goes down. So anyone that doesn't complete, so what I mean by that is you get the mortgage offer, you exchange the contracts, and then you complete and get the keys and everything. That is completion. When the contracts have been signed, you've got the keys, the money has been paid, it's all done and dusted. That all has to be done by the 31st of March. If not, then your stamp duty discount is no longer 425,000, it's 300,000. So that's the one thing. The other thing is there are first time buyer mortgages. There's like the helping hands that will give you more money than average lenders. Other things are, if you do have trouble with affordability, and this is just for first-time buyers, not right to buy first-time buyers, just for first-time buyers, there are other mortgages for you. There is the guarantor mortgage, where someone could put a charge on their property in order to be a deposit for you, and you get 100% mortgage. There are joint borrowers, sole proprietor, where like your parents or your children can go on the mortgage with you in order to help with affordability. So there are certain things. When it comes to first time buyers, it is best to DM me and we can have a frank conversation and I can talk to you about it. Or as I said, I can do another video. But there are a few more things that I can do another video on, and I will do. Right, What next? Right. Yeah. So I think I've covered the stamp duty. Now it's 425,000. So the way that works is, if you got property and you buy a property and it's the purchase price, it's not. So for example, with Right to Buy, it's not the discounted price, it's the actual original price that it's worth. That, because as far as they're concerned, say for example the property is valued at 300, you get 100,000 discount and you're buying it for 200. The stamp duty is based on the 300, not the 200. So be aware of that. So anyone who is Right to Buy and they're asking it to be stretched out for months and months and hoping for the best, if they don't actually, if depending on the value of your property, the total value, not the discounted value, is over 300,000, then you will be paying stamp duty on top if you don't complete by the 31st of March. So that's something to be aware of. Right. So when it comes to visas, there are different types of mortgages that you can get depending if you've got indefinite leave to remain or different types of visas that you've got. I'm not 100% sure of every single type because it's not a regular mortgage I do, but I'm more than happy to whoever's sent me the comment here to DM me, and I will more than happy go through it with you and do some research and find out for you. Right. So yeah, with the Right to Buy, at what stage should you get a solicitor? If you're doing the Right to Buy with me, then I already have solicitors that I use. So I will introduce you and we'll go from there. If you're doing it separately, the way it would work is when you do the mortgage application, you already have to know what solicitor you're using, because when you fill out the mortgage application, they will ask for the solicitor. So I hope that helps. Right. So someone's saying they're on UC and they're a single parent. Can they get a mortgage? Again, it's all down to affordability. With UC, I mean, it isn't a standard figure that people get. Everybody gets different figures. People's property prices are different. People are getting different discounts. So it is really hard to say whether you can or whether you can't. Right. So the discount in London now is 16,000. So yeah, 16,000 in the majority of boroughs. In a couple of them, they're not. But I do have a video, and in the background, it's a black and white video, and it has all the discounts. But the majority of London, it's gone down to 16,000. Do Lindas want a full breakdown of home improvements to be made when asking for additional? To be honest, it depends on the lender. Some will just want a general idea, some will want more. But you know who will want a full breakdown? The council. You're in the pre-exempt period. So for the next, depending on the council, possibly 5 years, they will have to approve everything. So if you're borrowing and you're borrowing with additional borrowing for home improvements, the council will want a breakdown of what you're doing, and they will have to approve this. So the lender can lend, but it really does need to be approved. What's the next one? Is it worth Right to Buy? 55 isn't old. Believe me, I won't say how old I am, but I'm not far off. 55 isn't old. Basically, so the standard mortgage I can get is till 75. So that's a 20-year mortgage. Yeah. And most people can pay their mortgage off in 20 years. And I mean, I know it's a mortgage, so the monthly payments is probably going to be higher than the rent you pay, but you'll own it. It's something you can give to your kids if you've got kids. I mean, I remember when I bought my first property, the feeling of actually owning something. I mean, my dad brought me up to say, don't rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage. I hope I don't offend people that have been renting, but all I'm saying is it's really worth buying. you own it. So I wouldn't worry about your age. As I said, I've got mortgages for people in their 60s. It all does depend on affordability. And if you've got a decent pension, you can go right up to 80, 85, 90. So it really does depend. That is why I read somewhere someone saying mortgage advisors are scammers, which really hurts my feelings, because I think I'm a genuine person. Well, I am a genuine person, and I come on and I give the advice, because I think to myself, do you know what? I know this stuff. Why not tell people who don't? That's the perspective I come from. And I don't know, maybe they've met a dodgy mortgage advisor, I don't know, or a mortgage broker or whatever, but everybody's different. And I don't think you should make a blanket statement like that. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I see wherever you see can pay the mortgage interest. Yes, there is a scheme where UC can pay mortgage interest. That is a special type of mortgage, which obviously can be looked at. Right, discount wages. Yeah, to be honest, throwing in what your annual is and all those figures, please copy and paste it and send it to DM me. And what I can do is I can give you my WhatsApp number, and we can start working and going from there. That will be great. Oh, thank you. I appreciate my positive comments. I try. I just want to do my best and help as many people as I can. Yeah, I mean, it would be good to start putting in the chat what councils you're from. This person's from Birmingham Council, and they put theirs on the 4th. The other thing is what I was saying about the ownership, and if mortgages have trouble going through because there's not enough people that own privately. If we know that a certain amount of people are all going to be buying from that area, so you might want to do flyers. I know it sounds funny, but if you do like a flyer and say who's buying, who's using the right to buy, and you put it through people's doors in your area, then if you find enough people that are all getting a mortgage at the same time, if the decision you get, and I did speak to someone earlier and say she'd got a negative because the lenders were saying that there was too many council owned property and not enough private owned. If you get enough people to say that they're also going to buy, or they already have put in the application and bought, because thousands of you are, then that could actually overturn it. So that could be quite cool. So I think use these comments, use TikTok to sort of communicate with other right to buy people and see what you can do. Where am I based? I'm based in London. Can't tell by the accent, but I work virtually. So basically, what that means is I go on Zoom, I take calls, I get people to scan stuff to me or take photos of stuff or download PDFs and that kind of stuff. And it's always worked for me. I've never had to meet anybody in person. Ever since COVID, I work from home, and I really like it. It gives me the flexibility with my kids to be able to pick them up and also work long hours like this. So yeah, it works for me. Does it help if excellent credit file report? Yeah, exactly. Thank you for not saying excellent credit score. I've got a bee in my bonnet about that. It does help. Yeah, absolutely. But whenever I review my clients, I review their credit and I review the whole thing, and I give them tips and tricks to get it over the line, to improve it, because, at the end of the day, by the time you do the mortgage application, you could be a couple of months down the line. What is the overall? 47 isn't old. 55 is not old. 60 is not old. You can get all of those. When it comes to okay, well, I think that's the end of all the messages. I think the maximum discount in Watford is now 16. Right, as I say to everybody, please DM me, and which is direct message me, and I do my best to answer all of them within a few hours, definitely by the end of the day. If it's maybe a whole day has gone by and you haven't heard back from me. I may have missed the message because, as you can imagine, I'm getting quite a few. But what I tend to do is whoever messages me, I ask them obviously what they want, because I've got some dodgy ones recently. But anyway, I ask them what they want, and if it is mortgage advice, then I give them my WhatsApp number, and then we communicate via WhatsApp, which is a lot easier. So that is where we're going. When it comes to booking the surveyor appointment, I assume so. Um, so anyone else might be able to sort of add to that, but I think with the surveyors, they do either write to you or call you and book an appointment, because obviously they need someone to be in because of excess. My mum has poor credit file. I have an excellent one. If you go mortgage with her, will it help her? Yes, it will. It will. But at the end of the day, everybody's kind of assessed. So there's certain no-nos. So the 2 no-nos on credit, or the 3 no-nos, I should say, is one, you can't be in your unauthorized overdraft. So you can't be in debt in your current account. If you've got no overdraft, you can't be overdrawn, basically. Second thing I wanted to say is the debt to income ratio. So if you're on 20,000 a year, your debt can't be more than 10,000. And what I mean by debt is, I mean credit cards, store cards, car finance, personal loans, buy now, pay later, all that kind of stuff. It's all the same. Credit utilization, they want you to be at 30%. So if you've got a credit limit of £1,000, don't go over 300. In fact, if you can, pay it off in full every single month. I know to a lot of you, especially when it comes to Right to Buy, it was a bit of a shock that they wanted you to give your notice within a few days, or a couple of weeks. It wasn't even 3 weeks. And because of that, basically what ended up happening is a lot of people applied before they were actually ready, but now you've got 4 weeks before they get back to you. You've still another 12 weeks to just really work hard at trying to improve your credit. And again, I will help where I can if you DM me. So I think I am pretty much done now. We've been live for about 45 minutes, I think. So I'm going to go. If you've got any video ideas that you would like me to do, by all means, put them in the comments and we'll go from there. It's been really nice speaking to you all, and take care, and I'll be live again soon. But please DM me. That's the best way to reach me. But my husband is, we are tenants. I'm not working, but my husband is, we are tenants. My daughter is paying. That's okay. Right. That last comment, please DM me, and I just need to ask a few more questions. I'm not trying to be funny. I just want to give you the most accurate information. So any questions you've got, just DM me, because then I can give you my WhatsApp number. We can have a conversation, and I can ask you the questions I want, so I can give you the most accurate information. So I hope that helps. Anyway, I am definitely going now, but it's been lovely to talk to everybody. And so this is what I mean with first time buyers. Just to recap, just make sure that whatever, yes, you have to pay your rent arrears. That is definitely something that is really, really important. No, they shouldn't ask for they'll literally ask for pay slips when you apply for your mortgage application. So if you apply within the next 4 weeks, they'll ask for the last 3 months. So it kind of works like that. So you have to time when you obviously apply for the mortgage, and when you have to provide the bank statement, the pay slips. So I hope that answered that question. But what I was going to say is, just to recap, the reason why I originally came on here was to warn first time buyers. So not just Right to Buy, but all first time buyers, because I specialize in first time buyers. So I do shared ownership, I do Right to Buy, I do joint borrower sole proprietor, I do standard first time buyer mortgages. So I do the whole thing. So this was just to make people aware that you know, you need good credit really does help. Clean bank statements really does help. All of that good stuff really does help. So you need to work on it now, so you've got the good money habits. But again, I can do videos on that. So that is great. The one thing I would say, someone keeps on talking about rent arrears. I don't, if you're talking about council tax rent, council rent arrears, as far as I know, and I'm not 100% on this because, as I say, I don't do the right to buy element, I just do the mortgage. But I don't even think you would be able to get the right to buy offer if you've got rent arrears. Now, other people can add in the comments and confirm this, but I just thought, when they're actually doing the assessment of you to find out whether you're eligible for the right to buy discount in the first place, if you've got arrears, then it will count against you. So yeah, I double triple check that, because yeah, I think that really is going to count against you. All right, everybody, good night, and thank you for your time. Take care.